Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be looking at some really petty situations that people are basically enjoying out there. So if you're new here, consider subscribing, liking, basically try to share this video with your friends. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. We threw our now ex-roommate under the bus after constant back and forth. I, 20F, is 20 female, live in student housing where I share a room, and in the other room are two other girls who we'll call Sasha, 22, and Summer, 21. I share a room with one we'll call B, 19. At first, B wasn't an issue and we all got along just fine. We were all friends and we would go on fun adventures together, but the issues arose when she brought her boyfriend to live with us. That's not good. First and foremost, if you're a girl and you're in a relationship, whether you love each other or you're trying to get to that state, it's not really a good scenario for you to bring your boyfriend to live in the same house with you and 3 other girls. Something is bound to happen. Alright, so at first she said he was visiting for the weekend, but somehow he never left. That's how it always starts. It's just for one day, it's just for 2 days, it's just for the weekend, and then the person doesn't want to leave. I had the same experience one time where I had a friend come over and he wanted to spend the night actually. And the next day he was still around. And then finally I got to know that he actually owed his landlord rent. So he had locked the door and left the apartment and told the landlord that he had traveled, so once he returns then he will make payment. So he ended up staying with me for over a month and basically I couldn't get rid of him. So take note of that. He would leave for work and come right back, and she expected us to sneak him into student housing after hours for her because Sasha and I had cars we could hide him in and drive him past security. This made us extremely uncomfortable because if we got caught, we could get academic probation and whatnot. But the kicker was that she seemed to be aware of all the housing rules and regulations around what she was doing. Of course, that's the thing. You would always know exactly what it is. The only thing is there are some people who thrive on that, like having that kind of dangerous situation where something bad can happen. There are people who thrive on that. So that's something you need to look into. And that is where you start to notice the narcissism and the psychopathy of a person, where the person starts to thrive on something, the things they are not supposed to do, they start to thrive on doing that. Later on, she started cat sitting for her boyfriend as well. Or so that's what we thought. The cat would go to the boyfriend's house from time to time, but for the most part she kept it at the dorm. But as we could all guess, even more problems started to come out of it. She claimed it was an ESA registered through student housing, so we couldn't get in trouble for her bringing her boyfriend's cat over, since none of us really knew the process for that. We assumed it was fine and minded our business until one day the RA caught wind of it. But because Summer, Sasha, and I are friends with him, he let it slide because we were all under the impression it could only be there temporarily. Once again, it never left. And she never cleaned up after it. After the apartment reeked of cat poop, it destroyed the carpet, one of my uniforms, and when anyone scolded it, lost her S word because she read online that you're not supposed to say no to your cat if you want it to love you, or some dumb BS like that. I actually have two cats with my wife, and I can attest this is the thing. Cats, I love being around cats as compared to being around dogs, because with dogs you have to walk them, you need to take care of them, they need a lot of attention and that kind of thing. But with cats, you don't necessarily need to do that. All you need to do is just train the cat as to where you're going to put the cat litter in. We have it in the bathroom, and whenever they want to do their business, they know exactly where to go. They go and pee and poop there, and that's it. So the only thing is, once we go to the bathroom, we see that it's basically relieved itself. We just pick it up and then put it in the toilet and flush it. So I don't know how you have a cat without actually potty training it. And aside that, cats do destroy a lot of things. Now, after the war started in Ukraine, we did have an instance where recently one of our friends is staying over in our apartment in Kiev, and he sent a picture or a video that I saw of one of the chairs that my wife and I bought for the living room, so that we'll be able to have guests over for dinner or something. And it showed the cat had completely destroyed one of the chairs. So yes, they, especially when they're stressed, they tend to destroy a lot of things. You just need to be, in as much as they are like, don't want attention, don't want this, don't want that, they actually do like to feel that kind of attention and love and care and that kind of thing from the owners. So that is something that you should look into if the cat is behaving like that. But let's move on. Anyway, naturally, we were all tired of her as well. So Summer asked the RA for advice, where we found out there was no way this cat was documented through housing, meaning she broke the lease and we could get in trouble for the damages and let alone being there. He said the cat had to be a minimum of 2 years old, fixed and up to date with vaccines to be able to stay, which it had none of. So that's the thing. Probably they found a cat maybe on the streets or something and then basically rescued it, but they didn't take it to the vet or something for vaccination or basically have it checked, which is not a good thing because it can come in with a lot of bugs on the butt, on the skin, under the hair, the fur basically. So you need to make sure you are checking it before you actually set it free in your house or in your space. We confront her kindly, and she turns it into a soap opera scene with screaming and crying, which has been a pattern throughout all of this. She left messes everywhere, and when we asked her to tidy up after herself and respect others' common room items, she took personal offense to it, etc. Our last straw was when she brought an ant infestation into the dorm because she left basically all of her pantry items open. When we called her to let her know we were tossing it all, she got mad and said she'll be over in a few, which to her, I guess, a few means 3 hours when she literally 20 minutes away from or at her parents' house. So she's, of course, people who always say, oh, I'll be there very soon, and they end up taking hours. I hate that. We had a few friends come up and keep us company while we cleaned, and when she got there, it was immediate crying and yelling about how we only blamed her because she is the youngest. So what? You're the youngest, so what? You don't know anything about keeping yourself tidy or not even taking into consideration how other people that you're living with, you're paying rent with, it's not like they're living there for free. How do you put yourself in a situation where it's like you don't care about how they feel or what is going on? Quite frankly, we were all sick of her and sick of the fact that she was downright unapproachable, so we set up a mediation with our RA, which got changed to the community director due to the bias we had by being friends with the RA. Well, that didn't do anything because she went and had her own meeting where she told a whole sub story and said that we tried to poison her with Raid. That's very interesting. And that the RA gave her permission to have the cat, which he didn't, in attempts to get him in trouble. So collectively, we all decided on petty revenge after she moved back with her parents. Time to be petty if you're not going to do the right thing. Let's get into it. It says, we had my mom send a text on Facebook as a concerned parent to both of her strict parents of everything she did wrong and asked them to consider having a talk with her so she could see how dangerous it is to have a strange man living with a bunch of girls far from home with nowhere else to go, safety in the event that he tried to do something. Yeah, basically they don't know him, nobody knows him, anything can happen. Now, taking into consideration this current case, which is pretty sad, about the Idaho murders, there are a lot of speculations there, considering people saying that it's possible that probably they might have come into contact with this guy before without even realizing it, maybe in a split of a conversation or a quick chat or something that nobody really cared about, and that actually led to this. Right now there are so many crazies out there, you just need to be very careful. Anyways, let's continue. Since doing this, she has not been active on any social media, which she normally eats, sleeps, and breathes on, and has left any and every group chat we had as roommates, or with any mutual friends. I know what I did was petty and childish, but the three of us needed closure after that situation. We'll live through this semester, and I hope her parents rip her a F-word new one for what she pulled. Yeah, so at the end of the day, that's the thing. You just need to be careful because you never know. And taking into consideration, one, bringing in a cat that you don't know where it's from, and not taking it to the vet for it to get checked, that can open you up to a lot of illnesses. You never know. And aside that, bringing in a guy that no one is familiar with and can do anything and just go away because nobody knows who he is, what he does, where he lives, probably don't even know anything basically about him, maybe even where he works. So at the end of the day, if something was to happen, it would be pretty hard to be able to find the person, considering the fact that they are sneaking him into the hostel in the night in their car. Everybody would think that they actually caused it or something. Nobody would really be able to do anything, considering there are security cameras and you're hiding the person and all that. It's a very bad move. Don't do it. But at the end of the day, kudos to you guys for finding a way to be able to solve this in a way that would actually make you feel more comfortable in your room. The only thing is, I would always prefer to live alone in a hostel. I remember when I came to Ukraine as a student, as a medical student, I was put in a room. I wanted to be in a room alone, a single room, or a maximum with 2 people. And then the commandant said no, she wasn't going to do it, and decided to put me in a room with about 11 other people because it was a pretty large room. And so I just left, found a hostel, an apartment, rented, and that was it. Because at the end of the day, with the more people you have, the more you're prone to having a lot of fights and arguments and that kind of thing, which I have so many stories regarding those. So if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments below and I'll make it a point to be able to share those stories with you. But basically, this brings us to the end of today's video. So if you like the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Also share this video with your friends. It's gonna go a long way to help me be able to grow the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.